It's another shaky cam video. You think I would get a gimbal by now and say because my hands are shaky. Not terribly shaky, but shaky enough. But no gimbal, those cost money and I don't care. So this is a quick test. So my good friend Jeffy, Jeff Van Winden, go follow him, CanadianBrickBuilders.com, and I don't know if it's .com, but Canadian Brick Builders, and he's on the Facebooks and the YouTubes and all that stuff. He has his own YouTube channel where he does a live every Wednesday, and sporadically I actually join that live on the YouTubes. Canadian Brick Builders. Look it up on YouTube. And he does an occasional video of his collections and his builds. He's one of my most favorite builders. He builds massively huge castles. For most of our shows in the past, he is the kind of person that will try to build something for every theme, which is just awesome. And he's very adept and fantastically awesome to build for every theme. As I say, he's one of my favorite builders of all time, and he's a good friend, and I've known him for a very, very long time. And we're both Dutch, so, I mean, whatever. So, if that means anything. So Jeff has a wonderful sorting technique, and I think I'm going to say a lot of people sort the same way he does. Where he sorts, I think he also sorts by color, and then by function, but he sorts functions like I have a bin of quote-unquote modified plates, and any modified plate, no matter what modified plate it is in that color, goes into that bin. Well, he subsorts the modified plates. He gets Plano boxes that sort of look like that over there, and he sorts all the pieces out by exact function. So we have our 2x2 L brackets, we have our 2x2 with the old propeller holders, we have our 1x2 with the thing on the side, or 2x2 with the curve on top. So he sorts them out like that, and then he puts them into the Plano boxes. And I admired him by the persistence and the perseverance and the ability to do that kind of sort. I've always admired it. And I never did that. Well, rarely did that kind of sort, where it gets right down, especially in the modified plates and modified bricks, into one bay in the bin equals one type of part. And now a lot of people will sortify. So if you get into these groups on Facebook where they talk about sorting and whatever, there's always so many discussions about sorting Lego, because you have to. unless your Lego collection is very, very tiny, you'll get to the point where you have to start sorting somehow. And I remember massively huge debates and threads on Lugnet back in the day, and even on the Facebook posts. And people are adamant they are in this camp where you sort by function, period. So instead of having just blue of these guys, there'll be all the colors of these guys. And then they say, well, you can find the blue pretty easy in a bin of these guys, right? And that's perfectly acceptable. That is perfectly acceptable when you have a quote-unquote smaller collection. When you get a massively huge collection, as I say, my whole thing is, when you build in color palettes. You don't build in function palettes. So like, look at, and this is just my blue modified plates. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then a whole bunch over there, and a whole bunch in there that's not even sorted yet, because these are the bigger pieces, and we'll get into that in a second. So if I'm building, say, a Galaxy Explorer like you see up there, and I'm building whatever else, a Benny spaceship or something, a mock like that guy there, I'm going to be building in blue and gray. And whatever I'm going to be building in blue, it's going to require a lot of different types of blue parts. So when I look at my blue right over there, I have 1 by X plates, 2 by X plates, what actually has 2 by 2 to 2 by 4, and then 2 by 6 to 2 by 8 plates, 4 by X plates, 6 by X plates, and then 1 by 1 and 1 by 3 bricks. This is out of focus now. 1 by 2 bricks, 1 by 4 bricks, 1 by 8 bricks plus 6 plus, and then you get in the different functions: 2 by 2, 2 by 3, 2 by 4, 2 by 6 plus, or 2 by 8s, and then you get into the 45-degree slopes, the 33-degree slopes, the miscellaneous slopes, and then the tiles are up there, and the hinge multi-parts, whatever. So it makes it so I can just bring, so there's 9, 18, 27, 36 bins of blue. And I can guarantee you, I have more than 36 piles of just modified plates here, functions. So if I'm going to build something in blue, I would have to bring, or I'd have to go back over there to where all the different functions are, all the specific functions in one bin. And I have to like sort through and find the blue. And I would just hate that. I would hate that a lot because I have to go through a lot of bins. Whereas I know I'm going to be building that thing and it's going to have modified plates in it. And they're going to be blue modified plates because it's a blue building. And so I bring my entire modified plate bin here. Boom, the whole thing's right here. All those plates that you see out here fit into this bin. Now the problem is that, oh, I need like 7 of these. Then you're sorting through this bin, sort, and to find 7 of these. Now, finding 7 of these in this bin, pretty easy, straight up. But when you get into like the 1x modified plates, like the 1x clip, no, I got a million of them, so they're pretty easy for me to find. A 1x2 with handles, like the guns, pew, pew, pew. Got a bunch of them. But there's a specific number of functions, specific pieces in here that I don't have a lot of, and then you're searching through the bin for a while. And I get that. So I think no matter how you sort, you're gonna be searching through a bin. Unless you do what my friend Jeffy does, which is function and color are completely sorted out as much as possible, where it warrants it. Like he's not sorting every single color with every single function in every single bin over there. He's not doing that. But if he has a pile of whatever, I think it's sorted. So I have been admiring that for a long time now, and I said I'm going to give it a shot. So my wife and I were at the Dollar-Ramas the other day. And I saw one of these fake Plano boxes for really cheap. I said, I'm going to try it. So I bought that thing a few weeks back, and it sat on my floor until now. And I said, well, what color am I going to try first? And I said, well, I build in blue. A lot. I could have done light gray. My problem with my light gray bin is twice as much as my blue bin. And so I didn't want to start with gray because it would be taking me a lot longer time to sort out. So what I did basically is I dumped my bin out. This is my modified plate blue bin. I actually used that guy down there to help me to sort out the smaller pieces from the bigger pieces, and I just dumped the bigger pieces back in here. And that helped. And then so I just had to sort the smaller pieces out, and I just made piles all over my desk. And then I started dumping into there. And of course, I knew I was going to have a lot more out here that would fit into one box. Maybe I should have bought 2 or 3 because they're like $2 or $3 a piece, whatever they are. A lot less expensive than buying the actual Plano boxes from Grand and Toy or wherever you get them from. But of course, this is smaller and blah, blah, not nearly as robust as the official versions that you can buy. And I'm not saying to skip buying the real versions as opposed to the cheap products that Rama has. But this was a test. And I'm on the fence right now. I really like it for the idea that I can just pull this thing out and I have my ladders right here. I don't have too many ladders left. I got my L brackets right there. I got my jumper plates right there. I got this guy, which I always seem to need right there, right? And these guys, right? So I have all these sorted out in here, and even these guys. Now I did not sort old versus new, by the way. Just a sec. Hey, Google broadcast. Okay, honey, I'll be up in like 2 minutes. Forget that. Okay, I'm gonna wrap this up really quick and start another one. So I'm gonna go walk the dog. We're dog sitting right now. So give me a minute back. We are dog sitting for 2 weeks. Our friends, our neighbors have gone somewhere nice and warm and left their dog with us for 2 weeks, which is fine. We miss Friday, so we have an intern dog for a while. So anyways, back into this. So Jeff inspired me. I decided to give it a shot to see if I will like it. Obviously, I need to buy more of these. And so when we get this thing right down here, I'm going to tilt the camera there so I can use both hands. You know, that's not bad. I do have a lot of these Cliffies. And you can see some of them have not aged as nicely as the rest of them. That is what it is, especially these guys. They seem, I don't know why, this isn't me. I got that in a lot, and a lot of them are this color like that. But, and it closes like that. But it looks like I'm going to need at least 2 more of these to contain the rest of this stuff. And I don't think I'm going to do anything with the bigger pieces. The bigger pieces I'll probably just, maybe not even leave in here, put it in a smaller bin. But I'm not going to obviously put these into these boxes. I do notice, I didn't realize I had this many tippers. And there's that one guy, and I can't remember his name, but he built 400 plus tipper trucks. I can probably build 7 or 8. So this is, I'm going to try this. And if it works, I'll probably start with the modified plates for all the different colors, except for black, because black's already being subsorted in the modified plates. But for the light gray, the dark gray, and the red and yellow and obviously blue, I'm going to do this and see how well it works. I do have a build in mind that I want to do soon, and that's why I started with blue. Look at the big pile of just chairs over there. Now, I was thinking I would probably not even bother putting these into one of those Play-Doh boxes. I would just dump all those back into here because, like, really, that's going to take up half the Play-Doh box. I think they're called Play-Doh box. I can't remember now. Doesn't matter. I also wanted to do a sort via Bricklink ID. My issue with Bricklink is that they don't call this a modified plate. This is a bracket. To me, this is a modified plate with this hanging down. Because I do believe, I'd have to check it out, but I do believe this is a modified plate. And I do believe that this is a modified plate. And this is a modified plate. I mean, I could be wrong. So why isn't this a modified plate? That always bothered me. I'm going to see, I'm going to kind of sort it my way, kind of a hybrid between Bricklink and everything that is here is a modified plate, even though I think in other organizational structures, they're not modified plates, they're brackets or other things. But to me, these have always been modified plates. They're not plates, but they have plate parts to them, which is studs on top, thing on the bottom for studs to connect into, and something that is not just a regular 2x plate that has something hanging off it or some modification. Now, I am changing my mind on some things. For example, I always would classify it when I was a kid. This guy right here as a 1x2 modified plate with offset studs, because it's a 1x2 plate. You can see it's a 1x2 plate. This is not a 1x4 plate. There's not 4 studs in a line here. I always classify this as a 1x2 plate. I also classified this as a 1x2 plate with a stud off to the side. So instead of like a 2x2 with something missing, of the 1x2 with something added. Because I didn't like the idea of having a plate with something missing. So this, to me, was never a 2x2 plate. This was always a 1x2. Because if this is a 1x2 and this is a 1x2 and these are 1x2s, right? Why? And this is a 1x2 and they all have studs on top. 1x2 means 2 studs. That's 1 stud by 2 studs. Now, what they infer is the length of the actual piece. And that's starting to make more sense to me now that they got like 2x16s. I don't have them here. Like it came in the Ninjagos with the dragon wings. It only has 4 studs on the top, like the 2x2 plate, but it has a whole wing protuberance. It's like 16 studs long. So I am reevaluating how I used to think of these when I was a kid. I always called them modified plates, even back then. But now the size is the actual physical size of the actual plate and not just how many studs and where the studs are that make it that way. But I have a tough time saying that's a 2x2 with something missing, because then really this could be a 2x2 because this piece here is where the other 2 studs would be. So this is like, or 1.5 by 2, whatever. Like, I think these studs would be right in the middle. Like, it is such a thing. And then you have this guy that has studs on top, but it doesn't have any places for studs to go into the bottom. So how can this be a plate? Because plate is like this, more of a tile on the bottom, an inverted tile with this pin in the middle. So I don't follow Bricklink naming too much, and even for these guys, there's no how can this be a plate when there's no place to put studs in on the bottom at all? It just had studs on top, so it's like an inverted tile with holes. So you can get into the minutiae and debate till the cows come home as to what these things are called. To me, anything that is a thickness of a plate is a plate. And since these also have protuberances or other things on them, so it's a modified plate. And which comes to this piece here. They actually put this in the brick category. I still have not and will not at this point put this in the brick category, because bricks are 3 plates tall, and this is not 3 bricks of 3 plates tall. It isn't. It's 2 plates tall. so this is still a modified plate, the 2/3. They say it's a 2/3 brick. I say it's plus 2 plates. So little things like that is just because I have been playing with Lego since I was 4. And back then, of course, there wasn't a lot of modified plates to be heard of. Just these guys. I remember that. This was ubiquitous back in the 70s. As a matter of fact, you can see them up there in that set there and that set there. Well, not this set here. In the red. I have tons of red. But I also have them in all the other colors. And again, you can see that some have really, really faded. And put these two side by side, and you know, wow. It is what it is. It's what happens when you have these old lots. Actually, it doesn't show up on camera as much as it does in real life here. If you look at this guy and this guy when it was upside down, there you go. So now you can see the difference. It is what it is. I don't lose sleep over that. I just use whatever piece I grab at the time, unless it's bent or dented, really bad. Or chipped. I'm starting to be a little more discerning on what pieces I build into things. If it's teeth marked a lot, scratched a lot, and or even remotely busted, if it's a ubiquitous piece, I honestly throw it into the bin of doom, which is right there, right beside me. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. Nice short video, 16 minutes, I think. 8 minutes before and 8 minutes now. Thank you, Jeff, for inspiring me. I'm liking this idea so far. I'm not completely sold on it. We'll see what happens when I get my next 2 and put the rest of this in there and see how far that gets me. And I'll put them on the shelf where there's a blank spot in the blue, because this thing has basically the same width as one of my regular bins, so it should fit in there pretty nicely. And I'll see how well it works, and then see how much work it is when I start sorting out pieces again and use lots, because that's the next step. Because right now my sorting process is relatively quote-unquote simple, because all modified plates end up in that bin and I never have to subsort them. But now for blue, I will have to start subsorting. And that's fine. I don't mind. I'm finding that I'm enjoying that time of sorting, and it's very, very odd. When I was younger, I didn't like sorting as much. I just put the Marilyn Lightstone on. If you don't know who Marilyn Lightstone is, you don't live in the area, and you don't listen to classical music on the radio. So I put on the Marilyn Lightstone, and I just sort, put my mind on hold and just sort and think about videos I want to make. And so this is one of them. So that's it. That's all. I want everybody out there to stay safe, be kind to each other. I was going to go off into some tangents, but I did that with the last bunch of videos, because it is now the Bell Let's Talk section of the year. I could talk about that a little bit. I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But mental health is important. Mental health is something that we all should not necessarily concern ourselves about, because most of us, a lot of us, you know, have really decent lives and blah, blah, blah. But it's something that even if you have a perfect life, you're going to have to, people have struggles. But I think I'm going to save that for a topic for another time, where I'm not as tired and I want to go to bed. So for my mental health. So everybody out there, stay safe, be kind to one another, be kind to yourselves first, and I will talk to you soon.